There comes a time when the foundation builds have settled. When the safe picks, the reliable setups, they've done their job. And improvement? It's no longer a grind. It's right around the corner. More armor? We can get you that. More damage? Absolutely. Making a difference in the team? Yeah, we got you. So if your builds feel like they've hit a wall, if you're stuck choosing between damage or survivability, this is your next step. Watch this through, build it step by step, and you go from barely scratching armor bars to walking into higher difficulty content, knowing your damage and armor both carry their weight. But here's what separates a good build from one you actually rely on. Because this isn't just another upgrade. This is the setup you bring when your main build isn't enough anymore. There will be moments in Legendary Strongholds, when pushing Retaliations, or a new escalation game mode, where the team starts falling apart, where pure DPS gets punished, and a full tank setup drags everything out. And that's exactly where most players fall off. This build fills that gap. It's the one you switch to when you still want to hit hard, but also stay in the fight. Not hiding, not playing safe, but holding pressure while everything around you starts breaking. And that's where Lexington paired with the Heartbreaker comes in. A setup built for momentum, for control, for carrying weight when it actually matters. So don't just copy this build, understand when to use it, and you'll always have the right answer ready. Let's break it down. To start things off, let's look at the thinking behind the changes. Because this isn't the first version of the build, and it definitely won't be the last. It started as something familiar, then got shaped by small adjustments that actually mattered in real gameplay. Nothing dramatic on paper, but in practice, it actually changed everything. Smoother survivability, cleaner damage windows, and a rhythm that finally felt right. That's the point you should take from this. Don't treat any build as fixed. Don't be afraid to tweak, swap, and tailor it until it fits your way of playing. The smallest changes are often the ones that turn a good setup into something you can rely on when it really counts. What I'm talking about here is the evolution of the Heartbreaker build. We're adding a premium weapon, the Lexington, actually available in-game right now till May 12th. Combined with the secondary, including a new damage upgrade available since year 8. And adding in that exotic piece to the setup, a simple swap that ends up pushing the damage in a way no other piece really can. It may not look like much on paper, but once you're in actual fights, you'll feel the difference instantly. Then the real question is, what gear, weapons, and stats actually make this happen? We tried some different routes to make this work. Tried the Nightwatcher mask paired with the pull skill to give 100% scanner pulse haste, but quickly found it to be too inconsistent when it really mattered. Tried the Eagle Bearer assault rifle for that extra protective layer, and while liking the weapon itself a lot, the actual difference we're looking for just didn't get covered. So we went back to the basics, and therefore needing the specific laser pointer from the Technician Specialization 3. The Link laser pointer is an under-barrel attachment unlocked to the Technician Specialization, and it automatically pulses enemies when aiming down sights. It is essential for triggering talents like Flatline, Spotter, or Heartbreaker gear set bonus for damage and armor without using the pull skill and keeping it consistent. Actually, making your stack building for both damage and armor as consistent as possible. Of course, the Link laser pointer only works when it's attached to a weapon. And for this build, we go for my absolute favorite high-end assault rifle, the Lexington. This has been a real pain for many of you to get, but at the time of filming, up to May 12th, you'll be able to farm for this weapon through the new Cherry Blossom event. Pick up the keys dropped within the event and open as many gear caches as you possibly can. On the Lexington itself, we have the talent Killer, making it so that killing an enemy with a critical hit will give you plus 70% critical hit damage. And we're going to get a lot of damage stacks soon, thanks to the Heartbreaker set. This is going to boost our damage quite significantly, actually snowballing the damage numbers. For the secondary, the most ideal option is the Stack Broker, with the talent Back and Forth, boosting rate of fire and damage when switching to this weapon, but also when switching back to your primary weapon, granting 5% rate of fire and 4.5% weapon damage for 10 seconds, making it so we can stack damage and bonus armor a bit faster, with no downside. And as a sidearm, no reason to pick anything else besides the Quick Step and take full advantage of the speed boost to go the distance. If you're still looking to get this, join the Discord so we can set up a Houndsman bounty for you and help you go farm it. As for the armor pieces themselves, the Heartbreaker 4-piece set. For the agents jumping straight into the higher level content, or if you're a returning player, let's go over the bonuses from the set. For the 2-piece bonus, you'll gain 15% assault rifle damage and 15% LMG damage. For the 3-piece bonus, you'll get 15% weapon handling, a hybrid stat providing accuracy, stability, reload speed, and swap speed. And as with most green gear sets, this is what it's all about. The 4-piece bonus. The talent is called Heartstopper, which makes it so that headshots apply a pulse for 5 seconds. And weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. Max stacks being 50, while 2 stacks are lost each second. This means keeping pressure is key. Since we're using the backpack and the chest from the Heartbreaker set, this provides some additional bonuses, making the Heartbreaker talent even better. The backpack, which comes with the unique talent Cold, which increases total bonus armor gained per stack of Heartbreaker from 1% to 2%. And for the chest talent, it's called Max BPM, and it increases max stacks from Heartstopper from 50 to 100. These two combined make it possible to get your bonus armor up to 200% and add 100% extra weapon damage at full stacks. For the exotic piece in the build, the Overdog Gloves. The talent you get from this exotic is called Weakest Link, which amplifies weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemy within the tier hierarchy. Now, to avoid the exact science behind this, we follow a simple rule of thumb, focusing on health bar color. Red, purple, and yellow, in that order. And to be clear, I fully understand this is not the full picture. I just accepted some damage loss every now and then to be able to keep playing more relaxed. And lastly, the knee pads, going for the Cheska version for the extra 8% critical hit chance. This can be switched up to fit your specific needs for optimal stats. It was a very close call between the Fenris, Fox's Prayer, and this one for me. As for the specialization for this build, we're going for Technician. A nice added bonus is the plus 12% damage against robotics, coming in really handy facing the Black Tusk, especially since the new season brings the Black Tusk retaliations. But the reason we really want the specialization is the linked laser pointer, providing a pulse to all enemies you're aiming at, instantly enabling you to stack for Heartbreaker bonuses. As always, and not specific to any specialization, don't forget your weapon damage multipliers. Since we're focusing on the Lexington assault rifle in this build, make sure to have it set on the assault rifle for the 15% extra weapon damage. To make things easy, here's a build overview starting from the top. Technician Specialization for the linked laser pointer, 15% assault rifle damage. Make sure to add the laser pointer both to your primary and secondary weapons. The Lexington assault rifle with the talent Killer for plus 70% crit damage after a kill. Secondary, the Stack Broker for fast maximum stacks, including the talent Back and Forth. Heartbreaker gear set with the mask, chest, backpack, and holster. The exotic Overdog Gloves for 30% damage amplification. And our final piece, the Cheska knee pads adding 8% critical hit chance. For the cores, this build works both ways, for damage and armor. But since every bit of armor can be tripled through the Heartbreaker set, I went for 3 red cores for damage and 3 blue cores for armor. At full stacks, this gets us over 4 million armor. And lastly, the skills. The Reviver Hive, providing that last edge for safety and consistency. And for the second skill, anything goes. I like to use the normal pulse to see where enemies come from, or whenever the last one decides to hide. All stats combined will look like this. For 50% crit chance, and 126% crit damage. As you know by now, this is just one way to run it. It's a very strong starting point, but the real power comes from adjusting it to your own playstyle and what you enjoy running. No build should feel copy-paste. I'd love to hear how you've tweaked it to fit your setup. Drop it in the comments and share what's working for you. And if you get stuck or want to take it further, jump into the Discord. There's always people around to help, break things down, and run with you. Else, see you in the next one.